Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for AEW Spark in 3, 2, 1. All Elite Wrestling discussion is live. Cue host Noah Foster.
Well, another week has passed, and you know what that means. I'm back in the driver's seat. Welcome once again, everybody, back to the conversation as we bring you into everything that's happening in All Elite Wrestling. This is AEW Spark. You know what this is. I am the simple man of the simple brand, part of AEW Productions, and the voice of the JMN. And my name is Noah Foster. But please welcome back to the platform, been a while, the Birdman, the Talkinator, Owen Finch himself, who I literally passed off the platform to, and yet I'm back here hosting. So I guess I'm not quite in retirement yet for whatever reason, but that's okay. Owen, welcome back. How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. The last time I was on Spark, it wasn't obviously a fun time. It was obviously right after everything that happened, and it was just getting tough to cover AEW Spark. I didn't have the best co-host. I had an AEW hater on, so it was just not easy to cover AEW every week. So that's why I'm back. And yeah, I'm tired today. Sore. I worked today, so. But I'm here doing this for you. This is something I can do for you because you did the rundown after with little sleep. So I figured I have no excuses to miss this, and I watched all the shows. I'm looking forward to talking about AEW again.
The way I see it also, before I have to go out and talk to my dad real quick, you guys have wanted to do this collab for a while, so it finally happened. Yay! The 2 hours of AEW Spark. Yay! We're doing it finally, like a year later.
Yeah. I've wanted to be on AEW Spark for a while, yeah, but like this time never really, warranted it, so I'm happy about it.
Well, mental resources and life priorities aside, it's good to have you back. And like I said, I passed off the platform to you, but I have no problem being back here in the hot seat if need be anytime soon. And again, with the way the AEW system is right now, at least till the middle of June, this should be a light, simple bringing you back into the world of AEW too. So without further ado, Owen, let's get right into it. So folks, we are going to cover literally the fallout after Double or Nothing, as that's what occurred last week. So here is your recap of AEW Dynamite and Rampage following the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. And it all starts with what happened on May 1st, 2023, headlined by a mixed tag team match. We kick things off from the Has Arena in San Diego, California, with Tony Schiavone, Taz, and of course, Excalibur as our commentary team. And speaking of teams, we kicked off with Trios Action, as we had the Blackpool Combat Club, the Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta. And of course, might I add, two of those men coming back from across the world, in Japan, at Dominion. I'll give you some subtle highlights on that later, maybe towards the end, considering we already are on the road to Forbidden Door, and it definitely has been open. And they faced the trio of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Lucha Brothers, Penta Zero Miguel, Rey Fenix, and their trios partner in this scenario, not Pac, not El Hijo del Vikingo, not Commander, but Bandito. And for what it was, this was a hell of a hot opening to basically bring everybody back up from what was Double or Nothing. We all were burnt out and exhausted, me included. And for what this match was, it started off fast, furious, and chaotic, the Blackpool Combo Coast way. And then it was brutal in the different form with Lucha Libre action. At one point, the stalling vertical suplex with Bandito in the ring for, I think, close to a 40 count. Excuse me. By the way, shout out to, of course, as I always honor my sources, never plagiarize. Thank you, All Elite Wrestling, for the notes. This is literally from AEWWrestling.com as I give you just some brief highlights. In the early going, Bandito got, Claudio Moxley spiked Bandito on the arena floor with a pile driver at the Penta. Hit Claudio with a backstabber, which apparently had little to no effect. Phoenix fired up with a thrust kick later on, and followed by Penta, who came in with a sling blade to Claudio, and then DDT on Moxley, as it was back and forth in the early going. Go figure. And then Bandito nailed Yuta with a massive cutter. Wheeler Yuta, who's come a long way. Why Brian Danielson, by the way, even talked about that and what the Blackpool Comic was about being real and the video Double or Nothing on commentary. And Penta and Phoenix jumped out of the ring with topes respectfully to Moxley and Claudio. As we go back in the ring, Bandito crashes down on Yuta with the frog splash. First near fall of the match. Yuta got rattled with a knee strike, and then we got referee distraction. Yuta takes advantage, rocks Bandito with hammering elbows, ties up Bandito in the seatbelt, and pins him. For what this was, for basically about, I think, 15 to 20 minutes, it was fast, furious, triple dynamic trios action on both sides. More so, it really did feel like a trios match. It didn't feel like tag team versus tag team and a third in each corner here. There was great trio synergy, but at the end of the day, Blackpool Combat Club proves what they are. Professionals. And they keep winning. Oh, and your thoughts on this opening bout?
This opening bout was excellent. I really enjoyed this. My favorite thing was Bryan Danielson on commentary. He was really entertaining, just like hyping up his team and everything like that. Especially like Wheeler Yuta, because obviously he's been letting down the Blackpool Combat Club and really made up for it. Obviously, a Double or Nothing. I forgot he got the win at Double or Nothing because we didn't cover that on the rundown this week. But that was huge. He got the win for his team, and he got the win for his team here. I thought everybody was excellent. The one critique I have about the match, it's really nothing about the match itself, but I think the Blackpool Combat Club should have come out taped up or something since they just had Anarchy in the arena. They should have come out and at least sold the injuries that they got and all that type of stuff. Especially, I believe, didn't Moxley just go into like broken glass? So it's like, why is he here? Like, all fine. So that didn't really make sense.
I mean, they were still wearing the scars. It was just impaled on their skin. At the end of the day, you're not going to see Blackpool Combat Club wear any sort of tape.
Fair enough. But yeah, I really liked this. I think Blackpool Combat Club are a future like ROH 6-man or trios tag champs. They really are excellent. I know a lot of people have been crapping on Jon Moxley. A lot of people say that his matches outside of the WWE system aren't as good. I really like his matches. I feel like there's something different, and he's really proven to be the heart. So are they as good as his WWE matches? I honestly think they're better. He likes to have these death matches. And I think they stand out throughout the show. I enjoy Jon Moxley. I enjoy Claudio. I enjoy Wheeler Yuta. I really liked, obviously, the high flying in this match. Both their styles meshed together. And this match was just really chaotic and just super fun. And I really like that AEW always starts off their shows with a match. I know WWE's gotten better about that, but I feel like lately it hasn't been that way because I think there's a correction being made. But I really liked this. It was really enjoyable.
Yeah, and the thing you gotta consider here again, this is professional wrestling eccentric, not necessarily sports entertainment. There's more of an actual sports feel organically in AEW than there is in WWE. Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, two totally different animals. Jon Moxley, CCW, if you go back before he was in WWE, since being finally excommunicated from WWE on his own terms, did it the right way. He's redefined himself in every style possible with this newfound style they call Death Jitsu. It's extreme, it's violent, but it's also technical considering they're all being under the tutelage of one Bryan Danielson. So in a way, it's evolved what Dean Ambrose was in WWE and could never be versus what he can be now in AEW and is still becoming. Two different worlds, just saying. And again, Bryan Danielson even said, "Can I tell you how proud I am of Wheeler Yuta and the fact that he got the pinfall after that stalling vertical suplex spot by Bandito for about 40 seconds? Kudos to him for being conscious enough." Down the words after that. All right. Well, as we go backstage, the Blackpool Combat Club celebrates, the other side of that arcade arena was doing anything but. As Alex Marvez was backstage trying to get a word on the condition on the Elite after Double or Nothing. Matt Jackson said the Blackpool Combat Club brings out the absolute worst in us. Even that wasn't enough. Nick Jackson said, like Heyman said a few weeks ago, we are the heart and soul of this place. Heyman simply says the Blackpool Combat Club relies on the numbers game. Kenny Omega isn't here right now. He's not even here in AEW. He's not even here in the country. And as him and Rampage was going to continue talking about where the Elite stands following post AEW or Nothing, well, I get by with a little help of my friends, but what about your old friends? As the Dark Order comes in and interrupts him and Rampage, saying, it's fine, it's fine. He's with his new best friends. And Marvez basically just says, interesting. But I do think it was more for the Kenny Omega thing as we look at the Elite as a whole versus him and Page and his past maybe coming back to haunt him, it seems, in some way. Don't forget who had your back, or have you already forgotten? Is something dark about to be in Heyman's path once again? So, a little bit of foreshadowing, possibly.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I really liked how the Elite sold the loss from Double or Nothing. It made all the sense in the world. Kenny Omega, I like the fact that he's going away. I don't think we should. I mean, obviously we're going to see him at Forbidden Door, but I don't think we should see Kenny Omega probably until that show, or at least Collision. Just because it's really a good way for him to sell his loss, kind of go away, have a mental state type of thing. I wouldn't complain if he did like a video package, like in wherever he is. I really liked the Dark Order part of it, that they brought them back. It made all the sense in the world because the Dark Order was there for Heyman, Adam Page when he was going through all the stuff, like right after the Elite broke up, pretty much. And they're the ones that helped him win the AEW World Championship. They're the ones that, have done everything for Heyman, Adam Page. So it made all the sense in the world. A lot of people saw this as a heel turn by Dark Order online. I don't necessarily think this was a heel turn. I think this is just kind of AEW showing that everybody has a character and that everybody, it makes sense for them to react this way. There's no reason to turn the Dark Order heel. So I really like this. I really like, the Elite selling the injuries and everything like that. The fact that Les lost with the Blackpool Combat Club did something to them. I do think a rematch is coming between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite at some point. Maybe that will be Blood and Guts. It just is going to be tough to do Blood and Guts though, because there's probably going to. I don't see the Blackpool Combat Club like tapping out. That's probably going to be like a knockout type of thing. Because you can win Blood and Guts by knockout, correct? Is it not? You can win that by knockout.
Yeah, basically it's knockout, surrender, or I believe pinfall.
Yeah, I don't think pinfall because I remember the old War Games.
That's right, it wasn't pinfall. Yeah, it's knockout, tap out, surrender. You're right.
So yeah, I think I really like this, and I really like how Heyman Adam Page now is conflicted. So they could do some really good stuff here. So I'm interested in this.
And again, the last note, Kenny Omega wasn't there tonight. He wasn't even in the country, and he's not in Canada. So again, special disbelief. And going back to your brief thoughts about the Dark Order, between what's happening with them in AEW, what's been happening with them in the numbers wise in AEW, losing Anna Jay, losing Preston Vance, getting back Stu Grayson. Now there's this whole dynamic Ring of Honor with the Dark Order, where literally Stu Grayson right now, he doesn't know what's truly righteous or the right way for him. So again, Dark Order right now, I feel more so it's like Dark Order and Heyman, they might just be going their separate ways. But I do agree with you. I don't think a heel turn necessarily is impending for this crew, especially since right now it literally might just be the three of them if things shape out the way they seem to be in Ring of Honor too. But I digress.
I feel like too. They probably should start. I don't know if they should end the Dark Order, but they need to make a change with the Dark Order because they've been kind of stale. They were even stale like when I was doing Spark the first time. There needs to be some type of change because they're losing members left and right and everything like that. Something needs to change. I don't think it's a heel turn. I don't think it's necessary, but there needs to be some type of change. I wouldn't complain if they ended it. Realistically, they probably should have when Brody Lee passed. But I can understand keeping the legacy alive. I really think they missed an opportunity to end it. I forget it was last year at some point. They were in New York where like Brody Lee was supposed to debut and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I think that was I think that was an opportunity to end the group. It just feels like Dark Order like is just kind of slowly losing steam. Just because they keep losing all their members. I think a couple of members have walked out and everything like that. So they really need to something needs to change with Dark Order. I don't think I don't think it's necessarily like a heel turn either. It needs to be something because I don't think a heel turn would help them.
I've been saying for the longest time, John Silver should go singles. John Silver's are a tremendous tag team dynamic, but if they're not going to go after tag team gold, I think Alex Reynolds and John Silver have potential as singles competitors. But again, we'll have to wait and see. I also want to give a shout, by the way, to Zero, who's been a great co-host as well in this platform. Thank you again, Zero, for all your work. And you're welcome here anytime too, man. As again, we are AEW. That being said, let's go ahead and have you take the front run on this next segment. As again, this post-preview show, it did have a lot of Fallout elements as it kept building some stories that literally were ascending beyond Double or Nothing, including this one. So go ahead and talk about this next segment. As Toy Javai was in the ring to interview Bullet Club's Gold, Juice Robinson, and Jay White.
This interview was pretty good. They came out and talked about how they find it funny now how Ricky Starks finally has friends, but they don't necessarily believe that FTR was there to save Ricky Starks. They think there was something more going to that. They just because it didn't make sense to them how Ricky Starks all of a sudden gained these friends and all that type of stuff. They were kind of ragging on Tony Schiavone a little bit. They were standing really close to him, like way too close, like not respecting his personal space and all that type of stuff. And eventually, it led to FTR coming out. They never get to cut a promo here. I thought that was really needed. I really wish they could have cut a fiery promo on Bullet Club Gold, just because I think they would have knocked it out of the park. But instead, they get into a fight. Juice Robinson attacks Dax Harwood with a right hand, and he had I don't know what it was. I think it was quarters, but
it was a roll of quarters. It was a roll of quarters and a loaded fist that dropped Dax where he stood.
And they lay out Cash Wheeler with Juice Robinson's finish. Ricky Starks Ricky Starks comes out. No, I said they lay out Juice Robinson with his finish. I didn't say the actual name of the finish. So
yeah, you're right. That's fair.
But then Ricky Starks ran out. He was a little late. I don't know what he was doing. But it happens. I will allow that. They ran off, and he challenged Jay White to a match with Juice Robinson banned from ringside. And later in the night, it got made official. I liked this. I did not think, though, Jay White and Juice Robinson came off at all as stars in this match. They did not feel like stars. They just kind of felt like kind of mid-carders a little bit. And this is really disappointing to me just because not Juice Robinson, but Jay White was a big signing that like everybody wanted. He was like the biggest free agent in the world, probably like behind Nick Aldis. Maybe even more than Nick Aldis. They were like the two big free agents that were going on at this time. And if WWE didn't have their hiring freeze, who knows what would have happened. I still think he would have gone to AEW, but you never know. And this is really disappointed that they're just kind of they wasted him, I thought, in a battle royal. And then it seemed like he was wasted here. I don't think he was given very good material here to work with. And he hasn't been the big star that I think he could have been ever since they made the stupid decision to kick out JOD from Bullet Club for no reason and do this infighting thing. It just feels like something hasn't clicked with me with Jay White as of late. And then, I don't like the fact that doing Bullet Club Gold and Bullet Club Regular. I get they want to get it over in America, but I hate to say this, and it's not good to make comparisons. We've seen what happened before in another company that's not around anymore when they split up a faction. And they called it two different things. It led to the death of a company. So we don't need that. We don't need to be doing that. They clearly want to do that just because they want to differentiate it, but just have it be the same people. Jay White can still be the leader, obviously. I think they did that just because they didn't know what Jay White's status was going to be in wrestling. They probably thought he was going to WWE. So that's why I think they did that. But this isn't a good idea. Ricky Starks is really awesome. He's a star. I don't think this is the best feud for him because he just beat Jericho not that long ago, and it does seem like that it seems like he should have gone for the world title, but the problem is he already faced MJF for the world title, so I don't think they want to repeat that match because MJF isn't losing the belt anytime soon, but I don't think this was like the good follow-up feud for Ricky Starks. I'm not being an AEW hater by talking about this. This is just what I truly think, and I like Jay White. I want Jay White to work out really well, but Jay White just hasn't been, I haven't been enjoying him. He just feels like a mid-carder at the moment.
It's one of those things, though, where, again, a change in dynamic poses a different challenge for you as well, and how you redefine and reshape yourself also shows how far you go in this industry. Again, you don't always have to be the top guy. You just have to be some part a guy. And bottom line, Jay White is still being booked regularly, weekly, in a dynamic storyline. And it's not just him, it keeps Juice Robinson, it gives Ricky Starks something to do. To go along with your point, though, it was actually Jay White that nailed Cash Wheeler with the Blade Runner after Dax Harwood was laid out because FTR
that's right,
to hit their finisher during this segment. The whole international battle royal further pushed the Ricky Starks Jay White narrative when FTR came backstage Ricky Starks' aid after the attack. As Jay White says, Ricky Starks didn't beat me, but Ricky Starks also didn't become the international champion. So at the end of the day, Ricky Starks, congratulations, because once again, you get another opportunity to be in my limelight. You get an opportunity to go one-on-one with Switchblade Jay White, that guy that single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden and the United Center, and possibly at this point, you might as well say, Wembley Stadium. It feels like to me they're just building a 6-man dynamic here for the time being that might be new challengers for the AEW Tag Team Championships, and Ricky Starks right now taking a different path towards maybe getting back to the AEW Championship, but they don't want to just thrust him in there immediately when he challenged, like you said, when there is coming. Great match. And Ricky Starks is literally a star right now. That's why he has a mainstay spot on AEW Dynamite Weekly. It comes down to the fact you're being booked, though, and as long as they're being booked, I think they're in an okay spot. As far as this Bullet Club dynamic goes, not the first time we've seen infighting with Bullet Club where you had internal factions. Primary Squad was hell for the Golden Elite, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and the Young Bucks. Cost them championships, cost them big pinnacle wins during the G1. In my opinion, you're just setting up, and keep in mind what the next pay-per-view is, Forbidden Door. Why Bullet Club's being built from the dirt up by the Rebel, we are literally seeing Jay White redefine Bullet Club under AEW, the golden standard of professional wrestling nowadays. So again, we'll have to wait and see how far this dynamic really goes, especially when we talk about the rundown for tomorrow night's AEW Dynamite. For those that are wondering, this is being recorded 8:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, June 6th. But I understand where you're coming from, too. At the end of the day, it's okay to have a critical, constructive opinion of what you think about somebody in AEW versus where they were before, as long as you are constructive about it. But you also need to give it a chance. And at the end of the day, Jay White has a chance at AEW to once again do what he did in New Japan Pro Wrestling in a whole different way. And it wouldn't surprise me for the end of the year that we do some point get Jay White versus MJF in some sort of confrontational promo. But that being said, speaking of confrontations to come and probably a conflict, AEW President, CEO, and GM, good grief almighty, Tony Khan had an announcement about AEW Coliseum Saturday, June 17th, the United Center. I'm here tonight to give you a little more information about AEW Collision. It'll be a new 2-hour standard Saturday nights, and our premiere event comes to us from the United Center. So stay tuned for AEW Collision on TNT, because I'm also here to tell you it will feature CM Punk. What I loved about this is, one, it wasn't robotically filtered. It was organic reaction. You heard the cheers. You heard the boos. You hear the thoughts. You heard the internet too. There is no foreshadowing or overshadowing what this means from, hi JJ, a business standpoint. At the end of the day, CM Punk, controversy aside for the past, is a draw. For AEW to somehow reach some sort of conciliation, for CM Punk to be a part of this new, what trying to become weekly standard for AEW Saturday nights, where we haven't had weekly Saturday night professional wrestling television since freaking 2000, is a huge step forward, but also a huge challenge that AEW chooses to put themselves through. And like I said, this summer could very well be make or break for this company. Collision's the first stop. Forbidden Door follows that. The video game follows that. But right now, the biggest obstacle in front of them is the reception of the entire AEW fan base and professional wrestling industry that CM Punk is returning. Before we get into the next segment of the show, which was a unique triple threat, Owen, your thoughts on this announcement. Now, let's first put it out there. This was 100% obvious. This is not the worst kept secret. This was impending. Where as soon as they say United Center, you knew it was just a matter of red and white lighting. But your thoughts overall, what you expect CM Punk to do to help AEW? And could this be the thing that AEW needed the most heading into this summer, considering this new show is a blank canvas?
CM Punk was needed to come back. JJ said it best on the rundown this past week. They couldn't keep the Elite and get rid of CM Punk. That doesn't make sense. It's not good business. CM Punk draws the ratings, and he was really needed to come back. I'm excited to see CM Punk come back. I like CM Punk. He brings the eyeballs, and he's going to cut some type of fiery promo. And what they should do with him, I don't know a heel turn, but he needs to cut this fiery promo. obviously with all the legal stuff, he can't mention all out, but he needs to go back to his promo where he said that we have kids living in a man's world and wrestling and all that type of stuff, like he said before at the media scrum.
We need a father figure or a leader to freaking lead it down the right way. Okay.
And I think he's gonna. And I think this is. I really think now I want him to turn heel. I know a lot of people said he doesn't make sense because it's in Chicago, but I think CM Punk could find a way to turn heel. He just can't. Maybe not a heel, but he needs to have an edge behind him. He can't come back and pretend like nothing happened. He needs to come back and like be pissed off because. And I feel like he doesn't necessarily need to mention it, but he needs to mention that AEW brought me back out of fear because he would have gone to another company in Stamford, Connecticut, because they would be more than happy to take me back.
I don't know necessarily if he would go that far, but I could see this being levels of the LA Forum MJF shoot promo to a degree where his mic might get cut off.
Yeah, like this neat. I really think the best thing he can do is align himself with MJF. It makes all the sense in the world for them to be an alliance because CM Punk wanted to make MJF a better villain, and MJF has done everything that CM Punk recommended that the AEW locker room does. He's the one that actually took CM Punk's advice, and I honestly think they need to do an alliance with CM Punk and MJF, where CM Punk tries to help MJF leave with that AEW World Championship. Obviously, have it fail in the end, obviously, but I think an alliance with MJF would really be money. This really needs to happen. CM Punk being back brings the eyeballs back, and I'm just really excited to see CM Punk come back. I think I really don't know like what else he could do. I really wanted him to see them feud with Chris Jericho, but just because they have heat, and I think Jericho can actually do business with him. Samoa Joe would be a nice one because they have a history because that was CM Punk's like last feud in ROH, like right before he left for the WWE originally. Correct. And he has the ROH TV title. CM Punk can go back. People like tune into ROH and everything like that too. So that would be really awesome, stuff right there. He could join up with the Blackpool Combat Club and go after the Elite if the legalities can, obviously end by then. There is another
particular individuals, but continue.
And then, we'll get to it later. There's another faction. It looks like that's going to be brought into AEW that Don Callis wants to do to bring down the Elite. CM Punk could be the guy that they add to that faction because who wants to see the Elite go more than CM Punk probably. So there's a lot of things they can do with CM Punk. And like I said, he needs to come out, and I really think this is a chance for AEW to finally get back into the good graces. Collision, I think I don't think, like James said, I don't think he's going to be make or break for a Collision. But I think he's going to help Collision get off the ground, kind of like Jericho did, where he helped Dynamite and AEW itself get off the ground and everything like that. And I think CM Punk will do just that. The thing I think I do want to say about Collision before, I know we're going to talk about it later. I think one thing they're doing as a mistake is it looks like they're putting all the talent on there that can't get on Dynamite. That's not good. They need to, because that kind of makes it look like Dynamite Reject City type of thing. They need to put some people on Dynamite that also there too. They can't just put people that can't get on Dynamite because that doesn't help anybody. So I really don't know what's going on, but when it comes to that, but yeah, I'm really excited to see CM Punk back. He's gonna draw a lot of things. I like that they announced him just because everyone kind of saw it coming anyways. And, I think they want to sell the venue out. CM Punk is going to sell the venue out. And I'm really looking forward. I think he should kick off the show like he did. And honestly, I really don't know what he could say. I really think it depends on the reaction that he gets. He may just completely go off script. And depends on the reaction. I think he'll get a decent reaction just because it is in Chicago and everyone in Chicago loves CM Punk. But you never know. Chicago's obviously the hardcore wrestling crowd, and they have what they think about what should happen. So it's all depends on what they think. But I'm really excited to see CM Punk come back, and AEW's got a chance. We have a chance to have several hot companies to go on. WWE's really hot right now. AEW was really hot right now. Like AEW needed this to happen too, just because WWE's firing at all cylinders right now. Impact's firing on all cylinders. New Japan is. Even AAA is doing really well right now. And if CM Punk didn't come back, I feel like AEW really would have lost an opportunity. So I'm really happy this has happened. So there you go.
Fair enough. And again, it's going to be a new Saturday Night Standard, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TNT, with episodes recorded at times on Thursdays. And I'm sure that's how they're going to handle conflicts with other stuff, such as sports and PLEs. But we'll find out soon enough. Either way. What?
One more thing. Something else he could do, and this is he doesn't say anything. He comes out and really plays with the crowd for a while, and he just drops the match and leaves.
We're thinking about does CM Punk need to be vocal, or is the presence enough to set up teasers for what's to come when he's already wanted to feud with the likes of Switchblade Jay White or Chris Jericho? Heck, maybe like you said, they do so with Samoa Joe. And why you talk about maybe Collision being the show of the Dynamite catering, I don't think it's necessarily that. Some people call it a soft brand split. I call it a new opportunity, especially since Rampage will be reformed into what Dark and Dark Elevation was. A chance for independent talent to rise for the ranks, get presented with opportunities, and see what they can make of it. The same type of platforms that have made the likes of Lee Moriarty, Lee Johnson, Kylan King, who's now an Impact Wrestling Knockouts Tag Team Champion, Julia Hart, among others. So again, summer is going to redefine AEW as we know it. I just hope it's only for the better. But having CM Punk back is already bringing so much conversation. At the end of the day, there's no bad publicity. There's just publicity. But there is still a bad reception on the demographic. And that's what truly matters. Drawing in the demographic. We'll see soon enough.
The other thing they can't do is they can't put the world title on him right now. Not just because
I don't think they're going to do that. CM Punk even said when he first came to AEW, he didn't really want to be the world champion. Tony Khan wanted that. Tony Khan had that vision. And then he got injured, and the title became for the better part of 4 months before John Moxley brought AEW back into life when he was supposed to go on vacation. Honestly, it wasn't for that moment with John Moxley giving that promo and literally taking this company on his back, AEW could have very well collapsed.
Yeah, I say that too, just because of that too, because he's been injured twice since they put the belt on him. So like he needs to kind of prove that he's not injury prone for a little bit too before
exactly
they have a conversation about it.
We'll find out soon enough when it's clobbering time and when a pipe bomb goes off in Chicago.
If it does.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear it. If tree falls to make a sound. Does a pipe bomb make a sound when nobody hears it? The whole world's going to hear it if it's CM Punk's hand. I guarantee you that. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the show now. Three-way match, a very rare thing that happens in AEW. A triple threat with the last three men besides the champion involved in the International Battle Royal. It was Shane Strickland and the Mogul Embassy taking on Big Bill, Lee Moriarty Corner, taking on Trent Beretta. And this was a really great sleeper match for this show. I was quite surprised. Very good triple threat dynamic as Big Bill at times. He basically worked Swerve at one point, but Swerve got out of the way. It became a one-on-one for a moment before Swerve tried to capitalize. Big Bill doing Big Bill things. Swerve hurling and bueling both Trent and Swerve. And Swerve went high in the air and planted on their entranceway, while Swerve and Trent bowed it out on the ring apron. Big Bill could swerve off the apron. Trent followed up, though, with a drop kick, and this match kept going. Big Bill, he walleyed Trent with one of the most ridiculous boss man slams I've seen, taking him from one island to the other across the Brooklyn Bridge, it seemed. That was ridiculous. Good Lord almighty. As this kept going, Swerve connected, though, with a flatliner to a Trent. Trent worked over heavily in this match, as he is a workhorse. But then Beretta, he rallied back with a pile driver on Swerve, and all three men each had a moment here to win this match countless times over. When you thought there was only a two-man dynamic, the third man came back in and not only broke the fall, he capitalized on the match. As Big Bill choked, slammed Trent, but Swerve swooped in and stole it. Opportunity. Stole it towards the end. Got the pin. Swerve, the consummate opportunist, says Excalibur. And of course, Mogul Embassy, considering this merger, he has to literally build bank, make profits. And again, people still believe that Swerve might be the one to beat Orange Cassidy. Talk more about that later. That being said, this was a very interesting three-way dynamic. It ended the way I expected, but Big Bill, he actually looked very strong here. He wasn't just an extra guy. He looked like a legitimate threat.
Yeah, this was really good triple threat match. I thought it was a little random. I mean, obviously they were the three guys, the last guys in the battle royal, but they should have announced that this was the number one contenders match. It ended up being that anyways, but they should have just said,
yeah,
they should have just said that it was, just because it would have made the match make a little bit more sense. I really liked this though. Everybody served their purpose in this match. I like how Swerve Strickland's become like a little bit of an ultimate opportunist type of gimmick, where like he's very smart and strategic about how he chooses to get into the fold and all that type of stuff. Big Bill looked really awesome. I obviously don't like the name change, but I can't call him the other name because I'm already committed to calling him Big Bill because I already screwed up and calling him Big Bill in the rundown. So I'm committed to that name forever.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I really like him. I'm really glad AEW signed him. He looked like a really strong, dominant monster here. They need to end the firm. There's no reason for that fashion to continue anymore. That fashion.
I think it's safe to say it's over. They're just each their own dynamic. Ass boys are ass boys. Lee Moriarty and Big Bill are a big man, smaller man, hybrid dynamic of a tag team, and they work well together.
Producer man interception, because I think that it would be even better, this tag team of Lee and Big Bill with Enzo as their mouthpiece, and also you have a trio in there.
I don't know if we're gonna see Enzo though, because
but they should though, because like the guy got an unfair shake and he's so much improved.
Yeah, the real one made his recent CCWFL debut. I know, James.
But yeah, so Trent,
dude's paid his dues. I would bring him in.
But yeah, Trent was awesome in this match. He really put his working boots on. And yeah, this match was just really good. I like the fact that Swerve won. It made all the sense in the world. I like the way that he won, where like he basically took advantage of opportunity, and it was absolutely the right decision. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to see what Swerve does. I'm really glad they made the decision to turn Swerve Strickland heel. He's really good as a heel. My favorite thing that he did as a heel was obviously when he broke Billy Gunn's fingers and all that type of stuff. I like how like sadistic and twisted that he is now. And I like with the fact that they added a faction behind him now and everything like that. I really think they need to get rid of Prince Nana. He's not good. He's really not cutting it. He can't talk, and he's a manager, and that's the biggest thing you need as a manager. Just they don't need him now.
That's probably why they brought Swerve in, to be fair.
Yeah, but Prince Nana needs to be like gone. Like he can still be in the company, obviously. I don't want him to lose his job or anything like that, but he needs to get away from this faction. It's not cutting it. And he needs to go. Like James knows this, by the way, actually. I remember when I did a career retrospective, I think I did it for somebody. I think I did it for Tully, and then I talked about how he was replaced by Prince Nana. That was like one of the loudest I think I ever heard James laugh, because I said that name with such disdain, by the way. Like, I do not like talking about him because he's just terrible. I don't get why they put this person like in there. This guy can't talk, and that's the whole thing. Like this dude needs to like get out of the faction, like go backstage and just be a producer backstage. Like you don't.
He's always been just part of the embassy. It just goes along with the picture.
Hey, you're not my picture. Goodbye, buddy. See you later.
Well, you can keep dreaming about that, but as
I will.
Swerve's there, Swerve and Prince Nana are going to continue to make bank. So
I hope Swerve kicks him out, hits the house call on him, and hits a JML driver onto the floor and
hostile takeover, liquidation of your position.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I'd love it.
I feel like Swerve respects Prince Nana because of what he's built. There's probably a dynamic that we don't know. And again, fan hindsight. That being said, you did bring up Billy Gunn at one point, Daddy Ass. How fitting segue, as Renee Paquette was on the rampway for a brief interview with the Acclaim. And the Acclaim, simply put, Daddy Ass said things didn't go like we planned last week. My biggest regret is that I let Caster and Bowens down. But on the other side of that, Bowens is the one that says, you didn't let us down, and we want gold back. And again, our goal remains the same because a few months ago we were screwed out of the tag team gold. And yes, they were. We all remember that. And of course, Daddy Ass, Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass, literally 30 years of giving to the business. They believe that this man deserves the whole gold one more time. I think JJ agrees. I think Owen agrees. I think many people actually agree because we respect Billy Gunn for what he's done and what he is still doing. So they said, don't worry, Billy. We love you. And of course, everyone loves the Acclaim. Simply put. Now, before I get us to Owen, I feel it's only safe that I do this because this was a positive encouragement. This next thing was the absolute opposite, heat taken to a nuclear limit. Because Tony Schiavone, with as much disdain in his voice as you could possibly hear, calls out the Invisible Hand himself and apparently his new son, Konosuke Takeshita, before the man could speak. I don't know how hot it was in San Diego that day, but that building had nuclear heat for these two. That was a full-length, unfiltered, unamplified, enhanced, stadium-wide boo for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Damn. As Kyle simply said, I sincerely hope that these boos are for Kenny Omega, and all that did was further enhance them. Cyrus the Virus, Mr. Controversy himself, who claims that he is the real victim, and what he's done, everything was for Kenny Omega. The IWGP title was because of me. Omega versus Alpha was because of me. The AEW World Championship was because of me. But you chose your friends over your family. And every morning I get up and look at the scar on my head. I blame you, Kenny. You destroyed my family. And maybe I lost a nephew, but now I gained a son. Because this is the best athlete I've ever seen in professional wrestling. And you know who's better than? He is better than Okada. And you know who else he's better than? He's even better than Kenny by God Omega. Takeshita, with a little bit of Japanese and then subtle yelling English, will destroy the Elite and destroy Kenny Omega. As you alluded to, Owen, Callis simply said, Kenny, you destroyed my family, so I'm going to build a new one. And with my new family, we're going to cut the Elite out of all Elite wrestling. Damn.
So obviously, I'll talk about first the
what a dynamic with the two promos. So let's talk about the first one and then really going on the other one, because that was the one that definitely owned the night.
The Acclaimed and Bailey's promo, it's so awesome. The Acclaimed is still over. It's crazy because typically by now when a hot act gets over, they've kind of lost interest in it by now just because, they got the belts and everything like that, but they're still over and they're still awesome. I really like this promo. It really humbled the Acclaimed, and Billy Gunn makes them something to fight for. I don't know if it's going to be the tag titles, the trios titles, but it really, makes them feel like human beings, and it makes us makes them feel like really great underdogs. So I'm looking forward to see what's next for them. And I'm happy about that. This Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita promo, had it not been for what happened on SmackDown at the end of that show, probably would have been like the best segment of the whole week. This was incredible. The fact that a gimmick works when it gets heel heat in AEW, because typically the AEW fans, I'm not trashing them here, it doesn't sound like it, but they typically like about everybody on the show. They never really like heavily boo everybody. It's the same thing for the old NXT Black and Gold, and all that type of stuff. So so I was fair there.
I mean, to be fair, there is one key similarity with what you just said about those two things. When one particular individual was booed unanimously, it was the only theme music they needed, as Don Callis came out with that picturesque art and Titantron and the video running back his actions from Double or Nothing to not the music, but the symphony of hatred from the fans of All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, this was truly incredible. We could talk about how it's a problem that a guy that in his 50s is probably the best heel in wrestling. That might be a problem. That could be a problem, but we can talk about. I feel like we can talk about that another time. I don't want to hop on that too much. This is awesome. And at first I kind of wasn't digging Don Callis turning on Kenny, because I'm like, is he in Blackpool Combat Club? Because that doesn't make sense, because they beat the crap out of him really bad not that long ago. Obviously that ended up being more of a shoot than we thought. So I'm really glad that this is him completely going on and doing his own thing. Because if him being in Blackpool Combat Club, that wouldn't have even made sense. I'm really glad that he's doing his own thing. And I'm really looking forward to see what Konosuke Takeshita can do as a heel. It makes sense for him to be a heel because if you remember, Kenny Omega, he got to AEW. Konosuke Takeshita, anyways, got to them because of his friendship with Kenny Omega. I kind of hope it gets brought up, the fact that when he was there during the pandemic and when he went on his excursion, he wasn't signed sooner than he should have been. He had to. He had to like go through everything in Japan instead of easily getting a pass and all that type of stuff. I really hope that he brings that up. I'm looking forward to see how vicious he can be as a heel. And I actually think this is going to do wonders for Konosuke Takeshita because he needs a mouthpiece. I have never heard him talk on the mic before, but I assume he needs a mouthpiece just because obviously he doesn't speak the best English and all that type of stuff. And Don Callis can do really well as that. And I wonder if they did this, because I think somebody may be coming to AEW. This is just me speculating. To defend Kenny Omega, that was a really good friend with him in Japan, and obviously I don't know how that would work Forbidden Door wise. That might have to happen after. But is Kota Ibushi gonna come in and defend Kenny Omega, or is Kota Ibushi gonna be the other guy that comes in and joins that faction? Because there's all reasons for Kota Ibushi to be a heel right now, by the way, with how the wrestling business has really treated him unfairly and all that type of stuff, and how it's just screwed him up mentally and all that type of stuff, and how he hasn't been able to really join any wrestling company because obviously he can't mention the New Japan thing, but AEW partnered with a company that he wanted nothing to do with, and WWE didn't give him a call because they decided to sell out to UFC and all that type of stuff. Well, not UFC, but make the merger and all that type of stuff. So that would be interesting. I am just really looking forward to this. This segment ruled. Don Callis was awesome here. He just completely gets how to get heel heat and all that type of stuff. And I do wonder if Don Callis, I don't think he'll lace up the boots, but he's clearly, when Kenny Omega, they really should build the storyline similar to what they did with CM Punk and Paul Heyman when Heyman turned on Punk, where like Omega tries to get his hands on Callis and he doesn't, and he fails to do so, and maybe you build it up to like All Out or Full Gear or Winter Is Coming. That'd be ironic if he got his hands on Don Callis at Winter Is Coming, the very same show where Don Callis helped him Kenny Omega become AEW World Champion. This is a good thing too because it keeps Kenny Omega away from the world title picture. I think he should be kept away from that. He might be the guy that ends up taking the belt off of MJF, like AEW's last hope to get the belt off him before MJF either leaves with the belt or resigns. And MJF versus Kenny Omega would be a money match. That's a match that hasn't been done yet. So I like this a lot. This was awesome. I like Tony Schiavone here, by the way. It just shows that the interviewers have personalities and stuff like that by having that disdain about Don Callis and everything like that. He really put his working boots on tonight for interviews. I'm like Byron Saxton. Byron Saxton was sleeping this week. Well, not that on that episode's Raw where he wasn't doing anything interview-wise. But to be fair to Byron Saxton, when he tried to do his job the one time, people were like being mean to him. So that's really okay.
Normal.
Yeah, but obviously Tony Schiavone really put his working boots on. This segment was incredible, and you really need to watch this segment. I can't do it justice.
Yeah, I don't think the YouTube clip does it full justice either, but
yeah, it's like
definitely, man, heat, all the heat. And again, we do wonder, Kenny Omega, not in the country, not in Canada, not AEW. Maybe he is looking back to going back to the aid of a longtime friend or a lover, if you will. Only time will tell. All right, moving on from there, I'm going to go ahead and put these two things together. Another quick little promo backstage. Wardlow with this new killer instinct. Oh, how fitting. Taking on a dinosaur. As he says, Luchasaurus found out not to get involved in our business, but if he wants to be next in line, I'll be more than happy to finish the job. So it sounds like Wardlow is basically calling out Luchasaurus. Maybe we'll finally get that one-on-one for the TNT Championship. Moving on from there, speaking of champions, our AEW International Champion, freshly squeezed and heavily, badly bruised, Orange Cassidy, tagged up alongside Darby Allin. Entrance alone just feels like Darby Allin right now has to be with a different mentality considering he lost the match in Double or Nothing with the headlock takeover again at the expense of MJF. But I'll talk about that later. They took on the Mogul Embassy Gates of Agony. Khan and Toro Leola, and Jesus Christ, Khan and Toro Leola tossed around Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin like yesterday's trash most of this match. They're really going with the belly-to-belly suplex, but Darby gets the tag in, and Toro wipes him out with a running tackle that turned him inside out at least two different ways. While Prince Nana, Brian Cage, and Swerve decided to walk it on the stage and take in what the Gates of Agony were unleashing. And Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy, of course, they definitely were not 100%. You could tell. Totally crushed Darby in the corner for splash. Darby, though, kicks up, and Khan pulls Darby up in the apron and whips him into the guardrail again. Every time you fought Darby and Orange Cassidy, we're going to have some sort of offense. Gates of Agony cut them off literally at the legs. And then Khan literally gets a DDT for a near fall, courtesy of Orange Cassidy. I don't know how Orange Cassidy pulls it off sometimes. As this match kept going, we get the Orange Punch, but Khan ducked it. And then the Gates double team Orange Cassidy, literally closing the Gates in on him. But luckily, Darby Allin was there to break up the pin attempt. And this match continued with Orange using the double Hurricane Rana on the Gates of Agony, tag out to Darby Allin on instinct, while Khan rocked Orange with the running back elbow. But Orange Cassidy fired back with the Stun Dub Millionaire. People have got to learn to dodge that move if they can. Darby Allin nailed Khan with the coffin drop, and somehow Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, this tag team dynamic so far, gets the win. Again, as a tag team, they're undefeated. As individuals, they're both battered and bruised, but one of them is still champion. But that wasn't the full story here, because clearly Swerve has his next intentions. He wants that AEW International Championship. For he wasn't beaten for it, he lost a battle royal for it. As Prince Nana, Brian Cage, and Swerve surrounded the ring and looked to further pain and brutality and embarrassment to Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin and send a statement to all AEW and Ring of Honor, who made his return and fended them off for now. So, with Sting back in play, what does this mean for Darby Allin going forward? Do we get a 6-man tag team match dynamic here? Or has Orange Cassidy finally ran his course as champion, run out of ways to win, and could we very well see the next AEW International Champion? But a fun tag team match to say the least. Owen, your thoughts on Wardlow and this new Killer Instinct and this tag team affair? And we know clearly where it's going, at least a little bit.
The Wardlow interview was fairly solid. I give it like a thumbs up. It was on the road too, I think. I think it was the same video package. I like that they're playing him on Dynamite now. That was a big critique I had, because you'd see these fiery promos happen on the road twos, but they wouldn't show them on Dynamite. I'm glad they finally learned that lesson. Wardlow needs to move on from the TNT title. It's time for him to challenge MJF for the AEW World Championship. Just because I feel like the TNT title, I think Wardlow's just kind of done everything that he can. I'm really disappointed. I feel like this dude was really over this time last year, and it does feel like that, his popularity isn't as high. I think they made a mistake by having him lose the TNT title too many times. But after he lost it the first time to Joe when he wasn't pinned, he never should have really kind of challenged for it again. He kind of should have moved on from that and kind of done other things, because then he's lost the belt. He's lost way too many matches now. He's really good. It's not like he's one of those guys that can't wrestle either, like a big guy and stuff. But I just think AEW is really kind of taking that mystique away from Wardlow. I thought that he had. It's kind of a little bit like Lance Archer, but the difference is Wardlow was really over and all that type of stuff. I really think they made a mistake by. I didn't necessarily have an issue with him being TNT champion, because obviously it was the next logical step. It does seem like that they did the Wardlow breakup and they didn't have a plan for him after the MJF feud. It seems like he kind of went into limbo for a little bit. As for the tag match, I love the Gates of Agony. They're a really good big man tag team. I love that they're utilizing them a lot. They look like stars here. They look like someone that you'd build like a tag division around, like a big league, big monster team that can be undefeated and all that type of stuff. But I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here. I do not have an issue with them losing here, because Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy, the veterans in AEW, they understand what it's like. Maybe they should have lost to the Last Supper, because I would have understood that a little bit more, since that's a move that you can't kick out of and all that type of stuff. I will grant you that, but I'm really happy about this. I think what was missing on this show is I feel like one of the competitors who challenged for the belt should have done a promo talking about the loss. Maybe that's coming, but I think Darby should have done like a little video promo. I think Jungle Boy should have come out and said something, because it just doesn't make sense why a babyface wouldn't talk about it. And it really is just strange. Like, it doesn't have to be anything big, obviously, but they can talk about, like how they wanted to beat MJF for the belt. I feel like if anyone should have said something, it should have been Darby, especially with the way he lost and all that type of stuff.
And how vocal he's been recently.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I really like the team of Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. they both kind of have similar gimmicks if you think about it, where like they both kind of like have like the I don't care mentality, but in different ways type of thing. Orange Cassidy, I'm really glad that like he's kind of evolved his character now, where he still is like the guy that doesn't care, but he's just putting on these banners now. And I think this is something that like James and I have talked about, that this needed to happen eventually. I'm glad that it's finally happened. But I like the way that like he still kind of has that Orange Cassidy like element to him, where he's just kind of like, yeah. I like that he carries the international belt in his backpack. I think that's something really unique. And he's just a draw. He's a star. He just completely gets it. AEW is a perfect place for him, just because he couldn't do this gimmick in WWE, just because the fans would hate it. I liked the return of Stin. This might have been the worst return he's had in AEW, just because like he's returned so often. It's starting to become a little bit diminished, but I always enjoyed seeing Stin. And obviously, we may be seeing the last of Stin probably this year. I think I read online somewhere, this was a while ago, so this could have changed, that he wants to hang up the boots this year. And I think the perfect way to do that is to have him pass the torch to Darby Allin. I think winter is coming this year, when Stin debuted originally, is the perfect place to hang up the boots. Adam Blampied on his like Pods Fun Known, he does how Adam would book, did a thing where Darby Allin sorry, I've worked today. Darby Allin turned heel and did it that way, like ended Stin's career. That doesn't need to happen. Darby Allin doesn't need to be a heel. I think he can still end Stin's career and just do it in like a respectable way. I get why you'd want to turn Darby Allin heel, I guess, but I just don't think that it's going to work like as well as Adam Blampied. Obviously, if Adam was booking it, he could probably make it work. I just don't think Darby Allin really needs to be a heel. It doesn't make sense. I think Darby Allin, we've seen him anyways, show like he's not necessarily a heel, but he has these moments of frustration and stuff towards Stin. And there's a way you can do Darby Allin and Stin in a match together without a Darby Allin turning heel. I just think I get it because ended Stin's career as a heel thing, but I feel like I don't think people would hate Darby Allin if he ended Stin's career. I think they would respect him. They probably wouldn't love him, but I don't think they would necessarily. He would get booed out of the building like people think he would. So I like this a lot, and I think that setting up a 6-man tag, I don't think that's a good idea, just because you're kind of booking yourself into a corner there, because both teams really should, or trios anyways, really should lose that match. But it is what it is. Sometimes sometimes people are going to win, sometimes people are going to lose, and I just have to accept that.
It all comes down to also the perspective of booking. I mean, right now it's Swerve putting its focus on Orange Cassidy. I could see Darby Allin and Sting being put up against the Gates of Agony, because Swerve at the end of the day is running the Mogul Embassy, and Swerve has an agenda, which is also still postponing the inevitable, I feel like, of Swerve versus Keith Lee. And if Swerve does win the International Championship, that could literally be the first program for him. But again, Orange Cassidy, he has overcome the odds, and at this point now, while the Mogul Embassy is going to do everything possible to probably help Swerve try and win the title, I feel Sting and Darby Allin is going to do everything to prevent it from happening. As far as looking way ahead to the dynamic you're talking about, we'll talk more about that later when it comes to the passing the torch maybe moment when Darby Allin says that Sting is his literal best friend in the world. So we'll see what happens. But speaking of friends, Tony Schiavone was in the ring, and I thought that we were going to learn something, and then just, out of nowhere, something randomly. Somebody said Hook inadvertently. That's the first. But then again, who knows whatever the hell he wants. He's the cold-hearted, handsome, undefeated devil and the FTW champion. And Schiavone simply asked, what's next for Hook after helping the Hardys on Sunday? But before I could answer, you talk about people booking opportunities. We'll see. The assistant comes out with El Delistico and Perpeligosa, all those fashions and monopolies, and basically talk about why people like him and Joe Dapper get all sorts of opportunities. Right now, I have 2 hungry pit bulls here that are just craving an opportunity. Next thing you know, they preyed on Hook 2-on-1, but Hook, again, no words. He just attacks them and fights them on. But now before Jungle Boy Jack Perry comes down and even ups the odds. And Perry whacks Preston and Dralistico with the steel chair, and they're fitted up for now as Hook sends Jose flying with the suplex, T-bone suplex. Good grief. Mutual respect with the reunion of Jungle Hook for the time being. You talk about babyface and the fact they didn't do a post promo following this match. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who literally had smoking gun in hand and legally could have used it, but went on a choice of morals and conscience, preventing him from going after the championship because he respects the AEW championship too much to win it like that, and the fans, based on what he's perceived himself as. I do wonder if this Jungle Hook dynamic is more than meets the eye, particularly for Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Now, before I let you talk about that promo, which is really brief in itself, let's go ahead and talk about something else that was brief in itself. As Renee Paquette was backstage with the new AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm and the Outcast Saraya and Ruby Soho. As Toni Storm says, look around this locker room. There's no one good enough to carry my bags, but I'll be defending this championship at House Rules this weekend. So right now, we have the AEW Women's World Champion with 0 Fs, but will defend it against the world, it seems, because she's in control and she is the AEW Women's World Champion. Power in favor of the Outcast. Simple and subtle. So, Owen, what is going on and what is next for Jungle Boy Jack Perry? And as far as Toni Storm goes, the AEW Women's World Championship, how far does this title reign carry her and the Outcast? Your thoughts on both these segments?
I liked the Hook interview and everything they did. I am so disappointed with what happened with Preston Vance. This guy was really good when he was 10, and him as Preston Vance, he just doesn't feel like a star anymore. I don't know why they took him out of the Dark Order. He was just so good, and now he just can't. He can barely get on the shows. He doesn't win anymore. Like him turning heel, I think ended up hurting him more than helping him.
That's a fair take.
And yeah, I like obviously Draglistico. I think he's got a really good look. And he's really good. I really like this segment here. I like Hook. I like the fact that he doesn't talk. I really like the fact that he's still FTW champion. I think he's coming up onto a year since he won the belt, because I remember I was there live when he won the belt, and everyone went crazy when he won the titles. No one expected it. And I like Jungle Hook as a thing. I really liked, obviously, Jungle Boy here. I don't know what's next for Jungle Boy. I would have him maybe challenge. He could challenge for the TNT belt, but I think that's a kind of a tough sell, just because I think that wouldn't really do any favors for Wardlow or Jungle Boy. Maybe like they can find a trio and have Jungle Hook challenge for the trios belts, because House of Black could find a trio, but obviously if it's House of Black rules, they obviously can't do that, because I think you have to be a legitimate trio to challenge for those titles if it's House of Black rules. So obviously that can happen. Obviously, we know we're gonna get a Texas Tornado match, which I think we're gonna. Since you said we're previewing, obviously that episode of Dynamite, there's really no need for me to talk about that. But I'm really excited about this. I like the fact that Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he said more in his actions here than his words. I would have preferred him to say something too, just because he's also the one that could have won the title again, because he basically did the Sami Zayn from NXT TakeOver Evolution, where he could have cheated to win the championship and all that type of stuff. They could do a storyline with him where like somebody from his past kind of shows him that and all that type of stuff. Maybe he's the next guy that challenges MJF for the title, just because he talked about how he could have taken the shot and all that type of stuff. But I really like this segment. The Outcast segment, not so much. This faction, I really don't think is money at all. The promo with Toni Storm wasn't good. They build to a match that no one's gonna watch, because we can't watch it because it's a house show. Again, it's one thing, right? It's good to make your house shows matter, but why would you build to a match that nobody can watch? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I feel like they're just trying to sell it at this point, because again, marketing, man, marketing.
Yeah, but it's like, didn't make sense. Tony, what I think's next with Toni Storm, I think she's gonna hold this belt at least until All In. And if Jamie Hayter is able to come back from her injury by then, I think they're gonna do Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm 3, where Jamie Hayter has the redemption storyline. Obviously, she's gonna run through opponents for a little bit. Britt Baker would be a good challenger for her, since she's still in the social outcast. the Outcast, that's obviously going to be tough for me to differentiate because that's both the same faction and all that type of stuff.
That's fair.
I don't like the Outcast as a faction. It's not good. It's the same thing they do every week where they'll attack somebody and then either it's the numbers game or they'll get beaten up themselves. This faction's not working. Tony Storm on the mic doesn't work. She was never really all that good on the mic. Even in NXT UK, I remember that was a big criticism everybody had. And yeah, I just do not like the Outcast. They don't draw. And it sucks because of the big heel faction at the moment. So yeah, that's my thoughts on all that stuff.
All right. Well, I think that's simple enough. And again, we'll see how they set up for AEW All In when it comes to the Women's World Championship, where I do think it'll be Jamie Hayter's ultimate moment, and I stand by that. All right. Speaking of women, though, this was definitely good. As again, we saw the road to end the journey that one more than woman face to become not only the second ever TBS champion, but the one to beat that bitch and break the streak. As Chris Statlander came out to prove again why she will be the best TBS champion this title will see for herself, but also for us because she wasn't really aware what this reception is like, nor if she deserves it. But now she's out for herself to prove it, and she accepts it. And it was a great first match here in her run as she took on the native beast Nyla Rose, who's always a great consummate worker. In the early going, Chris knocked down Nyla with the shotgun drop kick while Nyla body slammed her. Body scissors, though, grounding the native beast, but now was able to reach the bottom rope, forcing the break. Taya Valkyrie watching on backstage with a sense of malice, it seems. As we go back to main action, Statlander and Nyla Rose are just pummeling each other, but Nyla once is able to hook that Statlander Blue Thunder Bomb. Love the move. Hate they go for the fallaways for it because it never wins. Just saying, need to stop that. Set that up for a finish. It's not a finish. It's a signature. There, I said it. Anyway, Nyla Rose sweeps out Chris's legs as Chris was on the top turnbuckle, takes out her base, then falls up the cannonball off the apron. Good grief. To the floor. And the match was firmly in her favor from that point on. As she hits another cannonball on Chris, and this time against the barricade. Hard impact. Bringing her back inside the ring. But then Statlander was able to catch Nyla Rose with a jawbreaker, and Statlander finally found her footing and hit Nyla with the 451 splash. And this time, that got the win back from AEW Revolution 2020, where the roles were reversed. When Statlander came as the Galaxy's greatest alien and challenger, this time Statlander presented herself as champion and successfully defended it. A very good TBS Championship women's match on Dynamite, despite the spot, but I'm glad they gave it good ample TV time, even beyond the commercial break. This was good stuff.
This was very good. I wish they would have had Statlander this week, though, just kind of promo and do the match of this week. They needed a women's match, though, and this was the women's match to do. I like that Statlander now is moving on from the alien gimmick. It was over, but with everything that's going on with Statlander, it's time for her to be the real Chris Statlander. And I think she's...
Yeah, about to say, you mean, she even said that she had to do something because she was losing, so there you go.
And, I really liked this match. I thought this match was better than the first match. I didn't necessarily think the first match was bad, but I remember it was in between the tag title match, which is like my favorite AEW match of all time, and the world title match. It was in a bad spot on the card on that show. It was still like when the women's division wasn't being used very well at that time. So like I remember, Michael X and us were all just laughing and all that type of stuff. So we would just kind of, just having a nice little chat. But this match was very good. Chris Statlander, I'm really happy is back. I think they're setting up Taya Valkyrie to go heel and face Chris Statlander for the belt, which I think Taya Valkyrie as a heel is going to be money just because she's really good as a heel. I think she was a heel, obviously, in Impact when she was like the longest reigning knockout champion in that brief time when she was in NXT Black and Gold / 2.0. I didn't know what to call it. I almost called it the Rainbow NXT, but that would have been completely wrong.
Yeah, it would have been.
But yeah, I like this. Obviously, Vicky Guerrero, I think, is MIA at the moment. I think it's obvious why she's MIA. I think you know it, but like obviously there's some family drama going on that I think she's dealing with at the moment. I don't want to talk about it too much here. No. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I'll just tell you off air.
I'm well aware. It's been discussed on what might not. At the end of the day, family's forever. Get your shit together. Focus on that.
Not Nyla Rose. Who is it that needs to go? Marina Shafir needs to go. It looks like she's not wrestling at the moment, but she needs to go. Obviously, they don't want to release her because they just signed Roderick Strong, and it would piss him off, I think, if they just fired his wife for no reason. Well, there'd be a reason, but that's just fucking weird. You don't just fire somebody's wife after just signing their husband. Like, that's just stupid.
Again, John Moxley endorses her because she's different. So again, fan hindsight 2020. Continue.
Yeah. But I liked this. Chris Statlander, I think, should just be the champion now that has these open challenges and defends the title all the time, just because we've had Jade Cargill have that title so long, and she was like a prize fighter. It's time for the TBS title to be defended that way. And I just really like this. It was very nice. And I like things that are nice. And I like Chris Statlander because she's nice.
Yeah, and she absolutely deserves it. I hope she has a tremendous run. I hope this becomes more of a mainstay. TBS Open Challenge, give talent in and out of AEW a chance, present women's talent. I mean, I want to see her face Bert Vixen for one thing. She works in Ring of Honor. Give me Ashley Dubois. Give me Anna JAS. She continues to see if she truly will end up alone because we haven't seen her since that match with Julia Hart.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity where you can. In and out of your women's division.
Her theme song's really good, by the way, too. It really fits her and everything.
I like the new dynamic with the theme. Again, it just works for everything. Just works right now in the presentation that is Chris Statlander. So good start for our new TBS champ. All right, well, as we continue moving on down the line, as you subtly alluded to, they did make it official. We have the AEW Dynamite lineup, but they didn't really talk about that. They talked about what's coming on Rampage. That was called Championship Night. They gave us 4 championship matches. They gave us Willow Nightingale versus Simon Sakura defending the NWW Strong Women's Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. defending the NWW World Television Championship against Action Andretti. Katsuyori Shibata defending the Ring of Honor Pure Championship against Lee Moriarty. And in our opening contest, the Triple Mega Championship was defended in triple threat action as El Hijo de Vikingo defended against El Jalisco and what the hell are they thinking of this? Commander. But before all that, it was time for our main event of the evening. Oh, yes, as you also said, they made Switchblade Jay White versus Ricky Starks one-on-one official, the rematch with FTR, Andrew Robertson, banned from ringside. And that was the only thing that they booked so far, as we talk about the entire card once we get for Rampage. But time for the Dynamite main event, as it was mixed tag grudge action. And again, somebody's going to say this should have been on the pay-per-view. It was WWE DMD and Adam Cole, baby, taking on the Ocho, Chris Jericho, and Saraya. And this was everything I slowly expected in a tag team match, mixed tag team match. The second mixed tag outing for the DMD and the Bebe, who got the victory. Oh, this is the Dynamite main event, and you watched it. Go ahead, take it away, give your breakdown and your thoughts and your moment. And simply put, does this close the book on Adam Cole and Chris Jericho? Personally, I hope so.
Yeah, so I'll just say this. I didn't necessarily think the in-win work was bad or anything like that, but this match was a waste of time. Like, there was no reason for this match. Adam Cole already got his revenge on Chris Jericho, and also Britt Baker did too, since he beat up Saraya. This match was a waste of time. Jericho shouldn't have even been on this show because it didn't make sense. The guy was knocked out by a belt, like by a chain and stuff, and he shouldn't have even been on this show. And like, I hate mixed tag matches. They're like one of the worst matches I think any company does consistently because they never go away. The only company I think that does them really correctly is Impact, because I feel like Impact blends them really well together. And for the most part, they're like not mixed tag matches, they're intergender matches. I just don't think the psychology is very good in mixed tag matches because, it's basically 2 singles matches, and it's just, I hate mixed tag matches. I hated this match even more because I had to watch the fucking shitty TBS commercials again for the 4th time in a row. And I had to watch that stupid hunt show with this guy's gonna hunt people. And I just hate that commercial. That's another thing too. I hate commercials too, by the way. I don't think anyone really knows this. I hate commercials with a passion. I understand why they have to exist, but I hate them. Anytime somebody talks to me about commercials, and James is a big guilty of this. He's tried to talk to me about commercials before. I shut that shit down. Like, I remember James got like this disappointed look on his face when he tried to talk to me about a commercial, and I don't watch commercials. He was so disappointed. I think he was probably thinking of the biggest dick in the world, and he's like trying to have a conversation with me about commercials, and I had just shut that shit down because this is why I continue to be single. I don't make other people's interests my interests. If I'm not interested in it, I'm not talking about it. So that's what explains why I continue to stay single, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, that's a tangent for a different conversation. Anyway,
how else do they make fucking
money?
money?
Hey! I'm the guy that's running the ship while you're just producing. Let's stay on
Oh yeah,
track.
this mixed tag match
This
though.
Tony Khan needs to do more often. Anyway, continue, Owen.
Yeah, this mixed tag match again. In the in-win work wasn't bad, but this should have been on the pay-per-view. But yeah, I guess it was all right. Soraya isn't as good as she used to be in that win. I gave her a pass at Full Gear because it was her first match back, but she really hasn't been impressive since Full Gear and stuff like that. It doesn't feel like it's getting any better. And I don't know if I really buy in Britt Baker as a babyface at the moment. I get a change needed to happen because she had been a heel for so long. I think it's obviously tough for her to be a babyface here and everything backstage and everything like that and how she is. So it's tough to kind of translate that on TV and everything like that. Seems to be working though because she's over and everything like that.
She's also AEW original who has garnered the respect of the fans as a former AEW Women's World Champion. Again, just looking back at the beginning of the company. Continue.
I'm really disappointed at AEW just ruined Adam Cole, Chris Jericho. Like, this is a match I wanted for a long time. Like, I really thought they could have put on really magic when they wrestled each other. But AEW, I think
the ball.
Yeah, they dropped the ball. This is they tried. I think too it would be better if Adam Cole was a heel and Jericho was a face because I like face Adam Cole, but I think the dynamic would have worked better that way. And then the biggest, I don't even want to talk about this. The biggest waste of time is they just had Adam Cole win again when he's already beaten Chris Jericho. I know they're going to say it was unsanctioned and everything like that. It didn't count. I saw him beat Chris Jericho already. He got his revenge on Chris Jericho. What are you doing this for? And Jericho's doing this. This is on Jericho, by the way. He's losing now for no reason. He's starting to become a little too unselfish where if he keeps losing, it's not going to mean as much anymore. Because that happened in WWE. That's why he had to go to a whole new company because he's dwindled. Because, yeah, WWE didn't help, but he dwindled his star power a little bit because, and I talked about this every time, Kane and Chris Jericho are the one of worst enemies sometimes, where they're so willing to help that next generation that I think it affects their star power because you have to learn. Casey says it the best. Wrestling's a give and take business, and you need to know when to do both. You can't do too much of one thing, and you can't do too much of the other. I think Chris Jericho's starting to fall into that again. And if Jericho's going to be Punk's first feud, he should have won the feud with Adam Cole because it doesn't make sense for Jericho to go into a feud with Punk now because he lost to Adam Cole now. Like, what are you doing, Jericho? This is not. I can't blame Tony Khan for this, and I can't blame AEW for this because Jericho books his own stuff. Like, you're just losing now for no reason. I get you're in your 50s stuff, but you can still go. You can still put value. Like, you can still put value to this company. And again, Jericho shouldn't have been on this show. And this pissed me off. Because really, MJF should have been on this show. I know he's going to be on next week, but this is the follow-up pay-per-view after Double or Nothing. It was MJF needed to be here. This should have been a
promo saying no one's on the level with the devil, but I understand what you're saying. Continue.
He needed to be here, and they clearly needed a match to sell Dynamite. They like to end it with a match, but this was a waste of time. Like, there's no need for this. Jericho and Adam Cole was wasted, and I'm so disappointed in AEW here. Again, I talk about it. I'm not an AEW hater. This is just what I see, and I'm so disappointed that AEW wasted this. And I don't, and this is just bad.
I'm just gonna say this real quick, Owen. Stop calling yourself a hater when you're just a fan with an opinion. There's no such thing as a tribalist or loyalist. It's a self-proclaimed term created by the IWC to make a person feel more important and more knowledgeable in the business than they actually are and what they seem. We are all fans at the end of the day with an opinion. You are giving an opinion. Stop shaming yourself for it. Damn it, you're pissing me off.
Sorry.
Anyway,
you're fine. I'm just saying that just because I don't want because the
okay, no, shut up. Let me talk to you. Quit worrying about public perception when it comes to your fucking constructive own opinion. If people don't agree, that's on them. They have every right to. If people agree, that's their choice. They have every right to. If people come at you in a non-constructive way, there's a block and ignore button for the reason in the world of technology. Now, let's get back on track. Anyway, respect. Yeah, it just feels weird to me that, again, this really was like, okay, Jericho, you were looking for revenge, but you lost. Usually you think of these dynamics of, you won the first match, you win the next match, no matter what the gimmicks are, they would go one-on-one and it would end in a trilogy. But with Collision, maybe this was like an audible call by Chris Jericho. He was the one that was throwing a tantrum post-match, but like you said, he also was the guy that did eat the fall again at the hands of Adam Cole. Well, I guess this time technically it was it was actually a fall. Sunday was knockout, courtesy of Aubrey Edwards. And the biggest thing for me, Britt Baker, hey, she got physical with Jericho, even planted the lockjaw on him. That was probably the coolest moment in this match. At one point, the Outcast tried to get involved, and once again, Hikaru Shida came down and basically took him to the woodshed with her kendo stick, shades of a switch. In the early go-in, we saw how Saraya was able to take advantage, why Chris Jericho was basically teasing how he could attack Britt Baker. Adam Cole couldn't do a daggum thing about it. And Saraya did the same thing. Cole attempted the Panama Sunrise. Jericho countered to the Lion Tamer. Jericho caught Cole with a Cole Breaker. That was the nearest fall that the opposition got. Britt and Saraya exchanged some elbow strikes. And then Saraya spiked Britt with the DDT, a.k.a. Rampage. While Jericho looked for Floyd the baseball bat, ate a super kick instead. Adam Cole dropped his knee pad, delivered the boom. That was it. A fun little tag closer that at the end of the day pushes the idea that Adam Cole, he is now face, different dynamic, but now maybe he's out of the Jericho bubble. Not much more to say. And that concluded AEW Dynamite. And again, when it comes to Fallout, I don't expect a whole lot considering it's a reset stage. I don't expect them to go balls in deep either on everything, which is probably why they preserve the MJF angle that's going to happen this coming week when we talk about the Dynamite rundown. Speaking of which, I'll go ahead and quickly run that down too, as of course you folks will be watching this later the day of. So here's what you can look forward to ahead on this week's AEW Dynamite. We have Fresh Squeeze Jones Cash defend the AEW International Championship against Swerve Strickland. We have Texas Tornado Tag Team match as Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Cook team up to go against Preston Vance and El Jalisco, Los Fashions, Ewan Nobles. The Blackpool Comic Club being trios action against Chaos. Rocker Romero, Trent Beretta, and Chuck Taylor, the best friends. Absolute Ricky Starks takes on Jay White one-on-one with FTR and Juice Robinson banned from ringside. And we will also learn the first main event match of AEW Collision, courtesy of Tony Khan. And we will also hear from the AEW World Champion, MJF, and so much more is certain to come forward too, considering no women's match announced yet, no women's dynamic, no women's promo. By the way, spoiler, congratulations, Sky Blue Helmet effort, Tony Storm retained at House Rules. Now, before we get into Rampage, I just going to say this real quick, a little bit of Dominion note for those that don't know. Claudio Castagnoli made his NWO debut. I highly recommend if you can find a way to watch NWOworld.com and Dominion, go back and watch it. Tremendous show. And of course, we had the ultimate dream match made as Forbidden Door is anything but close, as that's our next stop. But before we get there, let's go ahead and talk about this fun hour of pro wrestling that was just honestly a championship fight night of all different sorts. Ring of Honor and NJPW presented, as we had 4 championship matches in this fun little hour of pro wrestling. It kicked things off with the AAA Mega Championship triple threat between El Hijo del Vikingo defending against El Jalisco and Commander, and it was literally Lucha Libre personified, as I expected. Commander shoves both men off, catches them with drop kicks. Then we get a double team on Vikingo by Commander and El Jalisco. Jalisco, who of course tosses Commander through the barricade. These guys are flying all over the place as Commander gets go back in the ring on El Jalisco, but Jalisco gets a 2 count. Works Commander. Champion's out of the picture for now until Commander literally walks the ropes. The hang time on that Frostbury flop. What in the hell? As Vikingo then climbs to the top rope, leaps over onto Commander and Jalisco onto the floor before tossing both men back into the ring and looks for the finger splash, but Commander, he gets out of the way, goes for a pin, Jalisco breaks it up. Again, all 3 of these men made sure that this dynamic would continue moving forward, and we were going to picture-in-picture when we get back. Oh, we just kept getting crazier from there because that's what these Lucha Libre people do. As Commander walks the top rope again and leaps to the outside, crowd chant, "This is awesome" for the second time. And then Commander hits a 450 splash with Listico for the pin, near fall, as Vikingo is aware enough to break it up. Vikingo, though, goes from the middle rope, takes out Commander, who's taken out through the table with that 630 splash. I swear he is this close to breaking his fucking neck. And the fans chant, "This is awesome." That is a scary ass spot, but that is absolutely ridiculous. And this was after that weird outside in twisting corkscrew 450 splash for another pin. Then Kingo is a walking cheat code without mods. He is human. He's superhuman. He's rubber. I said it. As in the end, we have the out of nowhere roll up by Kingo onto Mystico for the win. A hell of a hot way to kick off this show for 15 minutes. Wouldn't you say, Owen? Jesus.
This was incredible. Like you want to, obviously too, you have to keep the crowd invested, obviously, because this is obviously after Dynamite. It's tough to do that. I've been to Rampages and stuff after Dynamite. Sometimes that first match can be rough. This was incredible. This is the best way to keep the crowd invested. Everybody loved this match, and this match was just absolutely wonderful. It felt like a match you would have seen in AAA. With better commentary, and it was just excellent. El Hijo del Kingo, really could be a star in AEW, and anywhere he goes. And the guy's not even that old. He's only in his 20s. It's insane how young this guy is, and he just completely gets it. I love his theme song. It really fits him. Commando, I really like. This is the first, I saw him in the Battle Royal, but this is the first time I've really seen him really actually wrestle and everything like that. And he looked really good in this match. I like Draglistico. I really always enjoy him. I like that name. Everybody got to shine in this match. And I really liked I like these triple threat matches where it's always multi-person stuff too. Because obviously I hate the triple threat matches where someone takes a nap and all that type of stuff. I like that everybody was doing
here.
Yeah, I like that everybody was doing stuff.
Golly.
And this was just insane. What a way to kick off the show. I do want to say, because we'll talk about this. This is, by the way, I think a little bit of teaser of what you could see on Collision, because if the reports are true, it looks like Bryan Danielson is going to be contributed. Bryan Danielson and Tony Khan actually wrote this episode of Rampage together, and you could really see the touches of Bryan Danielson here. Because if you remember when Bryan Danielson, I think he was writing episodes of SmackDown. I think it was toward in the Thunderdome days, and the SmackDown was the best in that time. This was incredible. And you've set up 2 rematches. If you could do Draglistico versus Hijo del Kingo in the future for the AAA Mega title, and you could set up Draglistico versus Commando if you really wanted to. So this, you set up some nice matches out of this. This is just awesome. This is great.
Nearly 500 days in this championship run with an impending rematch for one Ken Omega, who had to vacate the title. He never truly lost it. And as we continue on backstage, real quick segment as Jeff Jarrett and his troop were about to get suspended, but not before Mark Briscoe came in and said there ain't going to be no suspension, because I told my main man Tony Khan, because I knew if you all were suspended, then we can't get the ass whooping that you all rightfully deserve brought to you. And when Karen and Jeff were wondering who, because Mark was referring to those two, in comes a pissed off wearing a Band-Aid. Aubrey Edwards hasn't been seen all week since that shot. I'm just going to say this right now. Aubrey Edwards has really been trained and mentored by one Earl Hebner. So this is not abnormal. But this would be a first in AEW history, especially if I see Aubrey wrestle in a capacity and more so pin that wretched witch. But I'm just going to leave that alone. Subtle segment as the other referees came in tow to break it up, as Aubrey Edwards literally goes for Karen Jarrett's throat. Should have squeezed tighter. And we move on from there. As we go backstage, this could be a fun dynamic. I mean, I'm looking forward to this. Anytime I can see Karen Jarrett get her ass kicked, I think that's all right. But as long as it means she's off my television screen permanently, I'm okay with that too. For what Jeff Jarrett has brought, producer-wise, executive-wise, creatively-wise, in-ring-wise, I will not deny the Jarrett name. I respect the Jarretts, but fuck Karen Jarrett. All right, moving on from there before you talk silly about that segment, because that segment can be taught in less than 2 sentences. I challenge you to do that. WYW World Television Championship match. Zack Sabre Jr. defend against Action Andretti. A great dynamic of Tekkas versus Cruiserweight. As the bell rings, we're underway. Of course, 15-minute time limit. Title would not change hands underneath the draw. Zack Sabre Jr. literally has Action in hand with a headlock, but Action Andretti was able to slip free. Zack Sabre Jr. knew he had to ground Action Andretti and reduce his speed. Thus, he put his focus on that in this match. With an armbar and drops him down to the mat, but Action reverses it, and then Zack Sabre Jr. hangs him great wrist control in the early going, keeping him down, keeping him grounded. That was until Sabre had Action down for a moment, and then he was able to work his way up, and Action got up to his feet. In the early going, Faber came into the challenger with the drop kick. Action then goes for a pin, gets a 2 count only. Sabre rolls to the outside, sense of awareness, also a bit pissed off. And then Zack Sabre Jr. literally, Action dives onto the ropes, onto Sabre, who hits the barricade. Then Sabre rolls back into the ring. Action goes to the ropes, though, looking to continue his offense, but Sabre catches him, starts working the left arm, follows up the hammerlock. Again, great technical back on Zack Sabre Jr. That mental clock, changing his position every possible chance he can, every 6 seconds, trained by Taka Michinoku, endorsed by Minoru Suzuki. Just Tap Out Academy. As Zack Sabre Jr. picks him again, works over the arm as we go later on down the match. Action counters back. A lot of great counter action by Action Andretti. I was quite impressed here. Action then follows up with a kick on Zack Sabre Jr., covers him, gets a 2 count only, and then Zack Sabre Jr. comes back, works over the arm again with a drop toe hold and a stomp to Action's arm. And then Action drop kicks Sabre, who gets on top rope, looks for a move out there, but Sabre grabs the arm again, drops him, quickly springs up though, but Sabre and flips him off the top rope. And Zack Sabre Jr. catches near fall again, but kicks out. Action Andretti literally has Zack Sabre Jr. up in the torture wrap, but Sabre had his arms around Action, who then drops to the mat. Sabre is then met with a thrust kick, though, right to the face. Shades of PK, and we're not even in rugby. Action Andretti once again counters back, catches him with a drop kick and a moonsault, covers him. Still not enough. Then goes to the top rope, goes for broke, and comes down on Zack Sabre Jr., but the awareness catches the arm, bends it, and twists it in a way that you just don't do, and traps his leg in the process too. No chance of rope break. Action Andretti forced to submit. Zack Sabre Jr. wins again underneath the time limit, and this was just ahead of his match against Jeff Cobb at Dominion. Spoiler alert, he won in less than 10 minutes. A very strong effort by Action Andretti, and a great first under the AEW banner showing for Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, so the Karen Jarrett segment, that was pretty good. I like the fact that Edwards is going to have a match now. It will be interesting to see how that happens. I think she'll do pretty good. I like obviously seeing Mark Briscoe. I'm really happy that Tony Khan worked hard to finally get him on the show. A lot of people could say what they want to say, but Tony Khan definitely works hard to make sure things can happen the way they're supposed to. I actually think that Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal will make this match really entertaining. And obviously, when it's time, or which one is it that's going to, you think, be teaming with Karen? Do you think it'll be Jay Lethal, or do you think it'll be Jeff Jarrett?
It's gotta be about the Jarretts at this point, because I feel like Jeff Jarrett is going to stand by his woman. Then again, I don't know, because the last time you saw Jeff and Karen Jarrett together in the ring was against Kurt Angle and Chyna, God rest her soul, and we all saw how that ended. So nowadays, it wouldn't surprise me if he has Karen fight her own with somebody in Jeff Jarrett's place, thinking, I got this. Honestly, with everything that's happening against Aubrey Edwards, I think it'd be more poetic if it was actually Sanjay Dutt and Karen Jarrett that got their just desserts.
Yeah, that'd be cool. This TV title match, going to that now, was incredible. Zack Sabre Jr., like we said, if we were making a list for top 5 in the world ever, best technical wrestlers, just technical wrestlers, not counting promos, Zack Sabre Jr. Would be like in the top 5 easily. He's incredible. He's really wonderful. I think he gets better every year. I really like this TV title match. Now, I believe the title can change hands via coin flip, by the way, if there's a draw. Not that the title does it.
That's what Excalibur did say on commentary, but as New Japan has shown us, title cannot change hands on a time limit. I don't think Excalibur was aware of it. Initially, when this title was made, that was going to be the decider, but clearly New Japan decided not to do that.
Okay. I really like the New Japan TV title. I like how it's like fast. This is exactly what the NWA TV title rules should be. Like, this is exactly what it is. They basically should just change those rules. I thought their styles between Zack Sabre Jr. and Action Andretti really meshed really well with each other. And yeah, Action Andretti has been really putting on some bangers ever since he had that match with QT Marshall on AEW Dark. I think it was in October at some point.
You're right.
And yeah, I really like an Action Andretti. He doesn't need to win at the moment. I know he just beat Chris Jericho, but I think he's pretty young into the business, so like he has a lot of time to become a star and everything like that. And I think just him showcasing himself and having these great matches is going to do wonders for him. Zack Sabre Jr. has really proven to himself that he's really a really good TV champion. It adds to obviously that feud between Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. And if they want to, they can bring in another person for that. With someone winning the TNT belt and they win a triple threat match.
Oh, Lord.
Whether that's
War television.
Yeah, so that would be really cool. Yeah, this was just incredible. I like the fact that there was no breaks. The match went on the whole time. There was no commercial break or anything, so that was really cool. And yeah, I thought the commentary was excellent, and it was just very good. This was awesome. I really enjoyed this.
All right, then. Let's go ahead and move on to our third match here as the NWA Strong Women's Championship was on the line for the first time as the first ever and newly crowned champion, Willow Nightingale, at Resurgence, defended against Emi Sakura. Bell rings were immediately underway. It was a match of power in the early going. Willow then goes for a shoulder tackle back and forth with Emi, but Emi doesn't move. Then Willow hits Emi with another shoulder tackle off the ropes, knocks her down. So we see who has the right of way in the early going. Willow then on the ring apron, but Emi then tries to bring her back in, but can't. Again, the power of Willow coming into play for the early half of this match until Emi tosses Willow into the barricade and follows up with that running cross body into the barricade, rocking her. Good grief almighty. We go to a picture-in-picture, and we see that Willow right now tries to attempt to come back against Emi as she chop shield, and then goes and continues chopping Willow, bringing her down to her knees, but then Willow is back up, met again with chops. There was a chop fest galore as we come back from break. Willow turns the table, though, with a shotgun drop kick, covers her with a smile. Still not enough. Emi kicks out at 2. We get a Vader bomb of sorts, but Emi covers Willow, only to get a 2 count. As Willow continues fighting back, high cross body on Emi, covers her again. Emi kicks out. Both women literally throwing their bodies at each other. Go figure. Including lariatos that did nothing to each other as they met in the ring. A physical and taxing encounter. Physical blows galore. Willow finally goes down and takes Emi with her. But Emi is the one to slowly get back up. Then hits Willow with more chops. Going back to the chop game. Good grief. Until Willow nails Emi with the pounce. Period. Followed by a cannonball. Covers her. Still not enough. And then she had enough as she brings the straps down. But Emi once again comes back with chops. And then finally catches her with that ridiculous power bomb and gets the win. A very strong showing, pun intended, for NWA Strong Women's Champion Willow Nightingale against one of the most respected vets of Choco Pro, Your Highness Emi Sakura. Emi Sakura put in these spots. I really do want to see her actually win, but I feel that she is in a comfortable spot where she is leading the younger generation. Did it with Athena. Now she did it with Jamie Hayter. Now she's done with Willow Nightingale. But I do think she deserves a big win some point sooner rather than later. But a good match.
This match was good. They both worked really well with each other. It was just so insane that we saw 3 different promotions titles defended on one show. And it wasn't just like a pay-per-view. Like it was like a Rampage, which was just really cool. Willow, I thought, Emi Sakura really made Willow Nightingale look like a star here. And there was points I did think that Emi Sakura was going to win the belt. And it gets, obviously, to New Japan over as a big promotion by doing stuff like this. And, they made Willow Nightingale look really strong. I liked the struggle that she did where she struggled to hit her finisher. It took her like 3 times to hit it until she finally did. There was a really good near fall they did. I think it was the cannonball near fall that you did that, I thought was a really good near fall. It made Emi Sakura look really tough kicking out of that. This match was just very good, very insane.
Yep, and again, we will see how the NWA Strong brand is presented. Maybe in that Forbidden Door. Maybe that's just a sign of things to come.
Was this her first title defense?
It was her very first title defense since winning the championship at Resurgence. You know Mercedes Moné will be coming back, though, for what she believes is rightfully hers. For, again, she is the blueprint. She is the CEO. She is the standard. She is the talking point. So stay tuned, folks. Mercedes Moné won't be too far off, in my opinion.
It was insane. It was insane they mentioned her on AEW. I never thought I would hear her name get mentioned on like AEW Dynamite.
Right?
It was
the first
insane.
legitimate time we heard her name mentioned All Elite Wrestling. Again, foreshadowing. Just saying. Yeah. All right. As again, we already talked about what Dynamite's going to bring. Enough has been booked for Rampage. And for those that are wondering, Aubrey Edwards and Mark Briscoe versus Karen Jarrett and insert partner here. It has to be Jeff Jarrett at this point. Has not been made official, but stay tuned for the Championship Monday vs. Mia because as soon as it is, we're covering that shit. Okay, as we move on from there, it's time for our Rampage main event of Championship Fight Night as the Ring of Honor Championship was on the line as Katsuyori Shibata, the wrestler who recently just defended the title successfully against one of his own former students, the android Alex Coughlin, who's now part of David Finley's Bullet Club, took on Taga Style, Lee Moriarty, Jerry Lynn, BJ Whitmer, and Christopher Daniels were, of course, our judges in case this went to a draw. As, of course, you get 3 rope breaks. You get a warning if you use a closed fist, and this closed fist is officially a disqualification. If anybody gets involved, they risk termination or suspension. And basically, at this point, fists are basically available anywhere except for the face and except for a low blow. But mostly you're supposed to use open palm strikes. And once you use 3 rope breaks, moves and decisions within the ropes are legal. That's a quick rundown for those that don't know how a Pure Rules match. A standard of Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling that has been a standout for the wrestling industry. Here we go. In the early going, we even talked about how Shibata had brain surgery to remove a blood clot that literally could have ended his life, which is why he hasn't been wrestling since Sakura Genesis, by the way, folks. And we immediately start things with Code of Honor, referee Mike Posey, our Ring of Honor Pure official here. And we get early mat game going. Shibata works the arm Moriarty and uses the first of 3 rope break. Again, the way that Shibata manipulates his opponent. I don't think, to my knowledge, Katsuyori Shibata has used a single rope break since being the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. How's that for a testament? Anyway, Shibata locks up Moriarty, muscles him down for a pin, but Moriarty gets up, pokes Shibata in the eye, so it was pretty much the only time he was able to get an advantage. Works Shibata in the corner, series of kicks, followed by elbow strike, then a drop kick. And during the picture-in-picture, Moriarty was subtly in control, goes back to working at the legs, but Shibata counters back and has Moriarty in figure 4 leg lock, and literally lures him to come hit me, as he literally puts his hands behind his back to the freaking moxie and prowess and the masterclass that you see the wrestler show before you, let alone endure when you're in the ring with him too. Unbelievable. As we get back from break, Moriarty gets the rope and uses his second rope break. By the way, folks, this was less than 10 minutes in. Shibata then comes back with heavy shots to the face of Moriarty, counters, and then drops Shibata, though, uses the bridge hand on Shibata as closed fists are illegal. It was a warning. But, hey, Lee Moriarty, he's aware. It's a wise move. Shibata comes back, though, and drops Moriarty where he stood. Damn. Hits him with a series of forearm shots to the face, then cracks Moriarty in the face with a huge hesitation drop kick. Kenta Kobashi / Kenta original, folks. And then goes for the cover, but Moriarty kicks out and uses his final rope break. But Moriarty then counters and uses Shibata's head and neck, literally locks it up to get out of it. And Shibata comes back with a sleeper hold. Again, that patented sleeper hold that he does, which of course sets up his opponent for that one-of-a-kind PK kick. And that's all she wrote for Taga Style against the wrestler. Lee Moriarty retained and covered him for the win in record time again. Under 15 minutes. Not a single rope break used by the champion. Good luck to anybody that wants to try. Wait a second. As we are about to go off the air, the Sport Entertainer, if he truly still sees himself as that. Daniel Garcia comes down and looks at Katsuyori Shibata face-to-face and holds the championship. For a guy that fought that move on for Ring of Honor Championship, in my opinion, after losing it to Daniel Garcia, Will Yuta, twice, and I thought he was over it at this point, there is still something deep within that sports entertainer that wants to prove why he is still one of, if not one of the best up-and-coming, pure technical professional wrestlers. Katsuyori Shibata might be that very person to bring that back out of him, and this time maybe to stay. But a nice way to close this episode of a great championship showcase night of AEW Rampage.
This match was awesome. I really liked how it was structured. It was a match very unique. I like that Shibata dominated Moriarty, and it was very logical. It wasn't a way to make Moriarty look weak because you see these two paired up against each other. It's very believable that would happen. And, Moriarty was clearly the rookie here. Shibata, there was just no stopping him here. I like that Shibata forced him to use all three of his rope breaks right away. Very great manipulation right there. And I like the Pure Rules stipulation. There's goofy stipulations that they do in matches, like when Impact did the Grand Championship. That stipulation was really goofy. Obviously, the NWA TV title doesn't work.
The Heritage Cup.
Yeah, I know. I don't like those one. I don't like that one. But the Pure Rules, I think, is the best stipulation where it's like where it works. I really enjoy that. And Shibata winning obviously makes sense. The fact that this guy is wrestling after hearing what he's gone through is just insane. It makes him a consistent underdog because you always hear like, wow, the guy suffered through like internal bleeding in the brain or whatever it was. And he's like wrestling. That's just insane. I almost cried when I heard that. Legitimately, I'm sorry. It's just what happened. Daniel Garcia being the next challenger for him. That match is going to rule. ROH is doing a pay-per-view. It's Death Before Dishonor. That's the perfect.
Officially announced. Yep.
That's the perfect place to do that match. That's the match I think where Shibata is going to finally use a rope break. I think he has to use for Garcia. I think. I would build to that.
When it's on his own will, or Daniel Garcia manipulates the human body to do that, I actually do believe you're going to be correct.
Yeah, and I think that match is going to go like 25 minutes. I think someday a match in the Pure. I think someday in the match of the Pure Rules is going to go to a time limit draw, at least in the AEW banner, just because it's going to happen someday. I just don't know when it's going to happen because we've seen AEW go to a time limit draw with a world title match before, and essentially, that was a draw. I do think there's going to be a draw in the Pure title match at some point. But yeah, this match was awesome, and it really closed like a fantastic Championship Friday. If I had to give one criticism about Championship Friday is that you really could have skipped this show. You would have done yourself a disservice doing so, but you really could have skipped this show and really not missed anything because they didn't do anything storyline-wise except for the Karen Jarrett thing. And I think they should have done something. But I will say, though, that's okay sometimes. I enjoyed just sitting down and watching just some good professional wrestling here.
Amen.
So while you could have skipped this show, sometimes it's just good to sit down and watch wrestling, not have to think about storylines, not have to think about anything, and it's good to just watch good in-ring action. And that's what this show was. It was really fine to do that. Is the ratings going to reflect that? That's obviously something to talk about, but I don't care about ratings. I just care to sit down and watch wrestling. It's nice when wrestling does do well in the ratings, but I don't personally care about ratings. I just sit down, I watch wrestling. If I ever got into the point where I had to report on ratings, I would. I do talk about the ratings.
Let me know when you get your freaking stock portfolio in order when it actually probably has true merit. I mean, let's just be honest here.
Yeah, but I just sit down and enjoy wrestling. So I enjoyed just sitting down and being able to just watch professional wrestling here, and this was just awesome. This is really kind of like made me really hopeful when I heard that Bryan Danielson and Tony Khan wrote this together. Like, wow, Collision might be something. Like, Bryan Danielson could really turn Collision into something. I think the thing he's got to obviously learn is how to write good storylines and all that type of stuff. Like, it's one thing to write good wrestling, but write good storylines. But I have faith in Bryan Danielson because he was part of the greatest story and sort of not even a storyline at WrestleMania 30. I think he can do this. I think I have full support. Again, look at SmackDown in 2020. I think it was the fall of 2020. He helped. Maybe it was the spring of 2020, but he was helping writing SmackDown. He wrote some good, compelling storylines. I think they can do this. Collision might be a good show if Bryan Danielson's writing it.
Which, by the way, to interject, it was his last thing on the notch of frustration that broke the camel's back for him, and why he left the WWE at the end of it. By the way, keep in mind, because they booted him because he was too goddamn good. And he was really making that IC title mean something back then.
And AEW doesn't have writers, so they have that flexibility and someone bringing for an idea, see what's included. At the end of the day, Tony Khan just books what is meant to be the finish and rolls around with it. It's the wrestlers that put everything else in between, and that's what really is the merit of all of this.
Yeah, so this was fantastic, though. I love just being able to sit down and just watch just some good professional wrestling for it. Well, 45 minutes.
Well, yeah, we rest from calling picture-in-picture. That being said, folks, real quick thing about Dominion again. Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, and Shota Umino. They went up against Kazuchika Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Fell short in claiming the never-weight six-man tag team championships. Incredible match, though. Great to be with Claudio Castagnoli. But, as we learned, there was more to that. As they talk about, you three call yourself the best. With the Buffalo Combat Club, we are the best, and it's real as it gets because we are truly underneath the mentorship of one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, and he comes bearing a message as somebody looks to bring the rain to the desert and leave it high and dry. And it has been made official, folks, for the Forbidden Door for the first time ever, going to Owen's point. Sometimes you just enjoy the sport of professional wrestling for professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. As at Forbidden Door, it will be Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, taking on the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, 1-on-1. We're going to truly see who the best in the world is. Let's fucking go. And also announced for G1 Climax 33, AEW participation again this year, but this time the Mad King, Eddie Kingston. And there's no telling which spot it's going to be in because it's going to be another field of 32 participants with 4 blocks of 8. And please stay tuned this Saturday in New Japan Road for the actual blocks to be revealed. Stay tuned later for my Simple Brand, where me and Casey, once he fully recovers, so glad you're doing well, brother, do our annual bracketology and our coverage throughout the G1 Climax as well. Zack Jr. did retain the NJPW World Television Championship against Jeff Cobb, so that whole idea of maybe seeing who the best in television truly is still up there. As Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr., it seems like mutual respect. They got done tag team action, but one-on-one might be the way to sell it. Nothing officially booked yet. So again, folks, stay tuned for a lot ahead in and out of NJPW and AEW and Ring of Honor for that matter too, because we literally are just getting started. But yeah, this was a nice change of pace. It was a Rampage. We didn't really expect a title change, but it didn't need it. It's kind of like Battle of the Belts when they do those type of shows. It's great professional wrestling. It's a heck of an opportunity for several young talents to take a chance on the bigger stages in front of a larger audience. Case in point, Billy Starks and Sky Blue, for example, have literally used Battle of the Belts to transcend their appeal to the audience and what they could do in the ring. And Sky Blue's best match today is probably still against Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. She came that close, and that was just in front of a studio in Orlando. Don't look at the perception of who is involved. Look at who is being involved and think about what that could mean for them going forward too. Because it sure as hell is not a championship that defines simply the only ones that matter in this business too, especially when a championship lacks originality in certain places, but I digress. That being said, this was a really good AEW Rampage and a subtle Fallout week as we continue to see what awaits this summer in AEW, particularly with Collision coming up imminently too.
Which, by the way, you say that Forbidden Door also looking like it's going to probably be the best show AEW has ever booked as well. Like that, the fact that they didn't go the safe route like we've been predicting, like because we thought for sure they were going to do Okada and MJF, and instead they went him and Danielson.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. They look like they know what the hell they're going to do for this year's Forbidden Door.
Well, considering also Lance Archer, who fell short against Will Ospreay in Mutual Respect, by the way, who also has been dealing with his own injury, still wrestling, damn it, respect the Murder Hawk. It will also be Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship 2. And those are the only 2 matches officially announced right now for Forbidden Door. That is literally less than 3 weeks away.
This card looks like it's going to be nuts. Are you kidding me?
Insane,
so we got Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Danielson, Okada. I assume they're going to do Punk fighting somebody. I still hope Tanahashi, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Tanahashi versus MJF route at this point.
That's what I'm thinking, honestly, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, because that would make all the sense in the world.
I want them to book, and this is just me, because I know it never happened with the pandemic, and it still needs to happen because it hasn't happened. I want to see Minoru Suzuki versus Orange Cassidy for that international championship.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. You know what?
We're fancy booking and trying to predict the card.
Ooh, I got one for Punk.
Go for it.
If they book him on Forbidden Door, hear me out. Not because everybody's gonna assume that I'm gonna say Kenta, but no, fuck that.
I didn't think you were, honestly.
I'm thinking Phil's trying to go for another championship or something, right? That was the rumor. So it doesn't necessarily have to be AEW. What about him and Sonata?
The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship?
Yeah.
The one belt other than Impact, that world title that CM Punk hasn't won is the IWGP World title.
It would be it would be crazy. It would be crazy. There's stranger shit's happened. I would also say that you could, if you're not going to do him and Punk, I would do Andrade versus Sonata.
That depends if they let that happen. Again, we don't know the circumstances of the Mexicans when it comes to CMLL and AAA cohesion. So I understand where you're coming from. But guys, let's get through tonight's Dynamite, as I know you're going to upload this, and see if we do get more of what's ahead for Forbidden Door, and if truly MJF will fight who he believes truly is just indie fan promotion. Nobody's on my level. I don't give a damn about anybody except Great Con.
Don't forget, too, yeah, like you just said, yeah, I would complain if MJF just said, yeah, I'm not wrestling at Forbidden Door, because that would make sense, because he says he doesn't like this concept anyways as a show.
Yeah,
obviously
that's
not
the boss at the end of the day, which basically can overrule that.
Yeah, but again, like the idea of him hating New Japan and him beating Tanahashi in a heel way and having a banger match doing so that's too salivating to pass up. And the heat that Max can get from this is great.
Yeah, he needs to get some. He needs to get some nice heat from that. Yeah.
Well, again, guys, we'll know soon enough as we are ready to start pulling the plug and discharge tonight for me to respond. But before we conclude, folks, here's a little bit of a preview for what's ahead in FW Productions, too.
It's out of my hands.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Button Master Stable Wars entire playlist. FTW Productions Watch Party for WrestleMania Go Home Raw. Mistress Audio Dramatic Readings featuring voice actors from Weymouth Youth Wrestling. All Retro Wrestling Review Series videos on demand and upcoming. All WrestleMania themed retros available now on demand. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Let's Play Series. WrestleMania 19 Revenge Mode Let's Play Series. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Both episodes of The Don DeMarco Show. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indie Force Episode 26, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, all watch-along events. AEW Double or Nothing Dynamite Go Home Show Watch Party, available now on demand. A Simple Take, WWE Simple Takes featuring Cassidy 18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting, Episode 3 coming soon. Breaking news, ATW View Impromptu. WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 8, Fast Food and Restaurants discussion. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
So that's the stuff you can expect on FTW Productions. There's other stuff you can expect. We just returned with the Wrestling Rundown, where we talked about all the big things that happened 2 weekends ago now at this point, with Impact Under Siege, NJPW Resurgence, WWE United Champions, Battleground, and AEW Double or Nothing, and we talked about, NWA a little bit, and we talked about the return of CM Punk, which is why I tried anyways not to go too in-depth on it here since we did it there, but that didn't really work out. Yeah, you could see that. We have some retros coming up this week. We have some retros. It was supposed to be James's turn, but James was ever so kind enough to sacrifice his pick so that way we could finally get the 2 retros we've been wanting to do for a while, and that's Judgment Day 2000 and Royal Rumble 1998. That's going to be Thursday and Friday. It's going to be recorded those days. I forget we don't do anything live now anymore, but you're going to see it at some point.
Yeah, for the time being until I can get my box fucking fixed here or get it replaced.
The WWE Aftershock's going to be coming pretty soon. We're going to record that Saturday, and then we'll be doing this show again at some point. It's going to be obviously up on Wednesday before Dynamite, but when it gets recorded, obviously that just depends on Noah and I's schedule or my schedule or whatever. So hopefully we can get up. I'm happy to be back on the saddle doing this again. Noah and I worked really well together. Obviously, we had a little wrinkle, but we worked through it, so it was fine. And then what else is said to come out? This is a work in progress. Steve Coakley, Rockland Rampage, and I are talking about doing a series where we review Dark Side of the Ring. We're going to start with season 1 and go all the way to the nowadays season. That's going to be tough to do, obviously, with schedule-wise, and I haven't watched an episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and I haven't really
wanted... help your mentalities.
Yeah, I haven't really wanted to because of that, but it's finally time. I think I just man up and stop acting like a baby and stop watching it. So there you go. And then Owen and the Talkinator, new content's coming onto that channel. It's 2 weeks. I've said 2 weeks before, but there was some stuff that got delayed that it's going to be another 2 weeks, but you're going to see brand new content on there in 2 weeks. The intro for every show is going to be made. And yeah, I'm just really excited to get that channel going again. We really apologize for the delay on it, but just think about this. If you've watched that channel for a while, and if one of the biggest critiques has been the production quality, now it's going to be worth the wait. If you watch this channel and stuff, you're going to see some really great production on that channel. And that's a channel that, is going to be and all over the world and all that type of stuff. So
non-wrestling content basically is going to be on there.
Yeah. So, and then obviously we have the FTW main hub where all all our stuff kind of goes post.
Best of FTW now is going to be posted. This week can confirm on Saturday. Maybe not Saturday. Actually, no, maybe not this week, but next week we're going to try to release the first of FTW Productions best of. It's going to be Mistress Audio's autism story, the one that her and I did back in October 2022, because that was like the best safeguard pick to go with, and I think it would work to introduce it to a new audience. So be on the lookout for that as well on the main hub.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Noah, what do you got plug?
As always, guys, you know me. I keep it simple. That's always a pleasure to be a part of this family and always help you when I can, too. But if people want to know more about me, know this, for I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling, damn it! But I digress. So find me mostly on the Twitter and YouTube and in Foster1916. For all fans of wrestling, shout out, of course, the entire ATW family on the Twitter and our social media platforms, too. As far as content coming up from me, not a whole lot. I keep it simple because prize for passions. I don't know when Honor Hub or Right Back Reaper will ever become a thing at this point. It is what it is, folks, but I look at all things wrestling. But stay tuned for the next city predicting for Impact Wrestling against all odds. And of course, play commentary coverage for the Championship Direct live watch live back across the multiverse media with me and James Hebert on the call. Then following that, we're going to take a bit of a reprieve with next week being the go home into the premiere of AEW Collision, where the Championship Direct will provide you play coverage and reactions to that show in entirety too, along with the Saturday Night Shenanigans Weekly that are open mic night, with next weekend, not this weekend, being the next game night that will be Match Game. And it's sure to be a blank time. As we continue moving forward to Forbidden Door, stay tuned for our AEW impromptu predictions panel, both from NoDQ and the Galaxy, a predictions league form, because it's going to be part of the All Elite League, and so much more. And that's just stuff coming up in the short range for me and my simple brand too, as part of the Mission Network and FTW. But as always, let to conclude, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters, just fans with opinions, with this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, and just enjoy life, and enjoy professional wrestling. It's as simple as that. Boy. But that being said, I'll go ahead and do what I usually do here, because it seems that, again, I'm not going into retirement anytime soon. I'm kind of okay with that. Thank you once again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell so it goes live on demand on this channel or any of the channels across the FTW Productions. Hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. Let us know what you enjoy, what you want more of. If you have questions, at the end of the day, are you just a fan? Do you define yourself as something else? If you do, don't be ashamed of it. But know that you don't have to be simply that. As we pull the plug finally on this episode of AEW Spark for James Hebert Production Chair, for my returning colleague and analyst on AEW Spark, the Talking Air, Owen Finch, I am the simple man Noah Foster, always wishing you all nothing but the best in your fandom. But as always, I always leave you with this: make a positive impact in life and have a good night, for we are AEW.
Oh, and do your catchphrase too, because you're back.
So since this is being recorded in the past, we'll talk to you guys in the future.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as AEW content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.